Welcome to Live from Jacksonville. I'm your host, Amadeus. This is your go-to podcast for everything concerts and venues around the Jacksonville area. We have a really cool guest today named Carolyn Klucha that I cannot wait for you guys to meet. We'll get to her in a couple of minutes. Right now, let's talk about what's happening live in Jacksonville. Daly's Place just announced Leonard Skinner rocks the red, white, and blue with special guest, the Kurt Town Band. That's Saturday, November 8th. This is the show to support St. Michael's Soldiers, whose mission is to support deployed men and women in our U.S. military, local active military, and their families. And you can get ticket info and purchase tickets at dailysplace.com. ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena has Adam Sandler on Friday, September 5th. Disney Descendants and Zombies on Tuesday, December 9th. You can go to arena.jacksevents.com for those and other shows. Down at the Amp in St. Augustine, UB40 with special guest The Fix are performing Saturday, August 23rd. Sierra Farrell on Friday, September 12th. And Lee Bryce with Ashley Cook and Lewis Bryce will all be at the Amp on Saturday, September 13th. Get to theamp.com for tickets on these shows and others. And don't forget, the newly renovated Ponte Vedra Concert Hall is back open. Their upcoming shows include Maddox Batson, only a few tickets left for that show. Also, Melissa Etheridge in September, Lyle Lovett in October, and The Wallflowers in November, plus a lot of other great shows. Go to pvconcerthall.com for all of their upcoming shows. There really is something for just about everyone. Okay, if you've listened to this podcast for more than a few episodes, you know how much I love the Florida Theater. I fell in love with the theater when I was probably about 18 and just started my concert-going life there. I've seen more shows at that venue probably than any other single venue, maybe more than all the others combined. I mean, I've been going there forever. The Florida Theater, if you don't know, is a historical Jacksonville landmark, and it's a nonprofit, so there are membership opportunities, which I admit I should have become decades ago. Recently, I met a board member there who absolutely trashed me for not being a member, but in such a fun way that we became like instant friends. So I invited her on the show to help spread the word and to talk about the huge fundraising that's coming up for the Florida Theater. So let's just get right into the conversation. We're joined right now by Carolyn. Pronounce your last name for me.
Klucha.
Klucha, who I met at the Florida Theater a few weeks ago. What was the first show we saw together? Oh, Dave Koz.
Yes, Dave Koz, right.
Yeah, Dave Koz, the Summer Horns Tour, which I had never seen Dave before, and you had.
Correct.
And blew me away.
He's amazing. I love him. And, you know, Kevin Stone at the Florida Theater, he's so great because he's great friends with Dave Koz. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I do the tug on the sleeve. I'm like, I'd really love to meet Dave. So this was the second time we got to meet him.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I didn't know I was going to meet him. I interviewed Dave for the podcast a few weeks ago, and then they said, are you going to the show? I was like, no, because I think there was another show that night. Oh, Counting Crows were at the Amp, and it was so hot. And so I'm like, I don't have tickets, but Dave's people sent me tickets. And when I picked them up, the meet and greets were in the envelope. So I ended up in the VIP lounge and met you.
Right.
And we had such a great time. So Carolyn, you are on the board of the Florida Theater. Tell us a little bit about your position.
Well, I'm going into my fourth year on the board. I am the head of the marketing committee. And in the past, I have been co-chair of the annual ball, which is the biggest fundraiser of the year, of course.
And your main job is to give me hell for not being a member of the Florida Theater.
That is my job, to give hell to all my friends.
When I met Carolyn, she was just, raking me over the coals for being such a huge fan of the theater and not being a member. By the way, I have raked myself over the coals for probably 10 years or more because I love the theater. It's been a part of my life for my entire life. It's my number one favorite venue probably in the world. And so, yeah, you've convinced me to become a member. Let everyone know what it means to be a member.
Well, membership has lots of perks, and especially since we've gone through a major renovation over the last several years, including the installation of the new lounge on the second floor.
Which, by the way, is amazing. If you haven't been up there yet, you've got to check it out.
It's beautiful. It's Art Deco. It's, a great place to have a drink. You have your own private bathrooms, so you can avoid a lot of the waiting lines. But, at any membership level, the main perk is that you get pre-sale notification. In addition, you also, when you claim your seats within the pre-sale time, is your guaranteed seats within the first 15 rows. And they're assigned based on your membership level and then who decides to go to any given concert.
And that's a right of refusal kind of thing, right?
Well,
Like
that's
you
an
have to-
option. That's a paid upgrade.
Oh,
to have
okay, that's
right
a paid upgrade.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Yeah.
And so in addition to that, you can avoid the front door lines because as a VIP, you get to go in the side door off Noonan. I mean, we immediately go to the second floor, we grab a cocktail. At our level, we do drink cards, and those cards are divvied out based on the amount of your membership level. And of course, we get, access to the bathrooms, the pre-sale. And obviously, of course, we get to see everyone who we know at the Florida Theater there. That's where the VIPs are held most of the time.
It's a great way to kind of network and get to know who else is kind of on that same level.
Correct.
Music lovers, participants in this historic venue. It's really just a great place to network and meet new people.
It really is. And it's everyone. It depends on the concerts. And, like we were talking about, Kevin Stone and Justin, they are the guys who bring in the shows, whether, they're by a promoter or a rental. And they do a variety of programming. I mean, there's really something for everyone there. So at any given point in time, we go to all sorts of different concerts and shows. And so we see a lot of different types of members. We love all the genres. So obviously you see, people country, people with kids.
Yeah. When I was younger, I talk about this on the podcast all the time. I'm sure the listeners are probably sick of hearing it, but I worked at a record store from 84 to 90. And I really got an education on not just the genres, but fans of different genres. I really learned to respect, I didn't know really who Steely Dan was. Or like some of the jazz greats. Like now I'm a huge Wayne Shorter fan. And so I really got a good education on music, fans, just like the whole thing. So now I really appreciate going. Like when I saw Dave Koz, I appreciated that tremendously. The next night we saw a Yacht Rock tour. I really appreciated that as well.
It's funny because when we met Dave Koz, we also met Marcel Anderson, and he was the singer that Dave brought to that particular show. And every concert that he comes to, he brings different people to highlight. So Marcel had just released a new album, and the next day, I went online, I downloaded the album and all his other albums.
Oh,
and
nice.
then I texted him and I said, I just downloaded your album. I go, Keith and I are sitting here listening to it. I said, these are my jams. We come from Detroit. We're R&B fans, first and foremost, Motown. And I said, if I'm going to promote your album, I go, should people download it from any particular, whether it's Spotify or Pandora or whatever.
Right.
And he said, yes, but he didn't tell me which one. So anyways, but now, we're a huge fan and, we just love meeting people like that. But, to your point, the Yacht Rock concert was actually different from the Yacht Rock group.
Right.
And that was where we got to see Pure Prairie League, Firefall, and Pablo Cruz, which we found out later, Yacht Rock is a genre of music.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Oh my gosh.
Because we thought it was just the group.
There's an amazing documentary on Netflix. I think it's Netflix right now. Yeah. On Yacht Rock and the whole movement. It really wasn't called that back then. It was only recently, named Yacht Rock. I think there's a Yacht Rock channel on Sirius or one of those platforms. So yeah, I mean, I knew, just being from in the business when the Yacht Rock tour was coming, that's what that was.
Absolutely. And last week we saw Here Come the Mummies.
Oh yeah. How was that?
That was an amazing show. I mean, the audience stood the entire time and talk about a great light show, high energy, and, long gone are a lot of the horns that you used to hear with Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire. And these guys bring it back. They're a group of super talented musicians that are under contract by other big bands. And so you don't really know who they are when they come out dressed as a mummy. But we brought our friend of ours from Philly, who I went to school with back in my young years. And he had never heard of them, of course, but he was jamming the whole time. And when it was over, what a great, energetic show. And we first saw them last year. Part of being a member also that I failed to mention is that you are invited to the VIP event, which is an annual free concert for members. And we're always surprised every year at what group they're going to bring in. And so this past year was the Mummies, and all we could say was, you guys got to have these guys back.
Yeah.
And so, and there is a following. Apparently they played at the Ponte Vedra Concert Hall before. And
I didn't know that. And so it kind of got glossed over for those listening. These guys come out fully dressed as mummies, Like you cannot see their face. They are completely wrapped up. Then they put on this high energy show, lots of horns, kind of like the David Sanborn show. And I hate that I missed it, but I had tickets to see the Fantastic Four movie that night.
Right.
And so I went to that instead. I will not miss it again. Hopefully there won't be a huge movie when they come back. But the show looks amazing.
It's so great. And I'll tell you what, it's all original music. It's no songs that you know, although you do feel when they start some of them, there's a little bit of sampling. So we were trying to guess like, back to like the Stevie Wonder days and like kind of where those come in. But no, they're all original songs never heard before. So it's like other concerts that we go to that we've never been and we say, let's try it. We have zero expectations.
Yeah.
And we are always pleasantly surprised. And our first concert that made us become members was when we saw the Piano Guys way before they were $250, $500 tickets.
Those guys are amazing.
They were fantastic. We had no idea who they were. We thought they were two guys playing pianos. Well, of course, they're not, obviously.
Yeah.
And amazingly, you think about all these songs I heard in the retail stores you walk into, they're always playing like Piano Guys.
Right.
But anyway, what happened was that so my fiance Keith, I forgot that he was afraid of heights, and we had tickets on the balcony, and we were with another couple, and I called him on the phone. I said, "Where are you?" He goes, "I'm in the lobby." I said, "What are you doing in the lobby?" He says, "I can't sit up there. It's like looking down was just too steep for him." I said, "Well, I'm not going to let you sit out there." So we go to walk out and leave. And on my way down, there was an usher standing by the door where people go on the main floor. And I said, "Listen, is there a way for me to exchange my tickets? I'm happy to pay. I'll upgrade, whatever. But I totally forgot about this issue." And she said, "Well, let me help you." And so she just turned around and knocked on this little like gnome-like door. It's like hidden in a tree trunk, I feel. And out walks, Numa Saislin, the executive director of the Florida Theater. I explained my situation. He hands me 2 tickets, and it was row N. I'm guessing probably media seats or something like that, or whatever they had. But it was because of that service. And I honestly offered to pay. And he said, "No, here, just go right ahead."
Wow.
I went home that night. It was 10:30. I called the Florida Theater to leave a message. Someone answered the phone.
At 10:30 at night.
At 10:30 at night, someone in marketing. I talked to her for about an hour, became instant friends. She no longer works there, but we became a member, and we've been members ever since.
Numa is such an amazing guy. He was actually the first person I had on my podcast when I launched it, because I knew I wanted the Florida Theater to be like the highlight of this whole idea of live from Jacksonville, because they bring in the most shows of any other venue, and it's my favorite. Speaking of most shows, they've got some awards for it.
They actually just won the Outstanding Historic Theater of 2025 by the League of Historic American Theaters.
Wow.
And this is a prestigious national award that recognizes theaters for outstanding performance as restored active venues.
That's insane.
Yes. And so they apparently it's based on community impact, the quality of the programming and services, and the excellence in the restoration or rehabilitation of the theater, which, it's been undergoing a capital campaign now for several years. We still have a lot of work to do on the green room, obviously for the artists, because artists can pick and choose where they play these days. And so many people love the Florida Theater because it is a beautiful theater.
Historic.
It's historic. It's going to be 100 years old in 2027, and which, we'll have a big celebration for that. But so many people love to come back to it. And the thing is that with all the other theaters that are either up and coming or, doing restorations, their green room, which is where, if no one knows, it's where all of the people go to like put on makeup, get dressed,
it's like
have
the artist's
food.
dressing room.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very, very small at the Florida Theater. So we want to make sure that they're taken care of, and that makes them want to come back year after year. And the other big renovation that will happen is at the main entrance, they're going to kind of bust open to the right of that, if anyone's familiar with the Florida Theater, so that we have a much larger main entryway where people can have, drinks and snacks. And
Oh,
all
that's
that kind of
cool. I
stuff.
didn't know that was coming. And that's kind of beside the box office. Kind
Right.
of that area in between.
They'll be moving it toward the box office.
Yeah, that's very, very cool.
Yeah.
There was something else I definitely wanted to... Oh, yeah. How do people become members if they want to become a member of the Florida Theater?
That's super easy. It's floridatheater.com. You just go online and you go under membership, and it will tell you all of the different levels. It will tell you each line item, like as you go through the monetary amount, like what the upgrades include. So you can either buy the membership online or you can just call them and they'll get you, the membership, and super easy.
And the memberships start at like $250 a year?
Correct.
Which is really, really doable.
Absolutely.
I mean, so doable. There's no reason in hell that I have not become a member yet.
Well, they do say you do give a lot back to the theater, that you've been, around and helping with all of the promotions. So I'm sure that in all of that time you have earned your membership, even though it's not quite official.
I do like to give back to that theater. It's funny. I just turned 60, and looking back on my career, you don't know while you're going through life where you're headed. And with this podcast, I feel like I've kind of reached this place where I can look back and go, this is what it was all about. I love doing this podcast. I love letting people know what's coming to Jacksonville, because a lot of times I'll go on Facebook and say, I saw this artist or that artist, and people are like, I didn't know that was happening. Well, here's your portal to know what's happening.
Absolutely.
And the Florida Theater is one of the best places in town. They bring in more shows than any other venue.
They literally, I don't know the number of shows this year, but I mean, it's close. It's over 300.
Yeah.
And, there's 365 days in the year. So,
Yeah, just think about that.
and to be honest with you, I mean, I'm wearing my Fleetwood Mac shirt today. And of course, I'm going to see, I have tickets to see Tusk, which is a
Tribute band.
tribute.
Yeah.
Well, some of them are tributes, and some of meaning that they're going to be singing like them.
Right.
The other ones are just singing the songs of. And
yeah.
so the thing is that, as the groups get older or members, pass on, that music was so important, because we're about the same age.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was so important to us as we were growing up, and to be able to continue that on and bring back all those memories. I mean, it makes it great, right? Some people.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that when the originals are there, my theory is I don't know if they're ever coming back. I'm going to see them yet one more time.
That's exactly why right after Prince died, I made a list of the Tony Bennett's, the Engelbert Humperdinck's, the Johnny Mathises. I'm like,
All
I got to
my
see
faves.
these guys before, because Prince was so young and these guys are still around. And when I was talking with Dave Koz, he said he got a call from Dave Sanborn, someone from Dave Sanborn's band, that said, we're getting ready to go back on tour. We just wanted to let you know. And he's like, is this a good idea or not? But then he thought, yeah, it's a great idea, because this music has to live on.
Absolutely.
It's just about that music, sharing it with the fans. And I love meeting other fans of certain genres or musics or whatever.
Yeah. And the other thing is that we try, the programming guys try to bring in other shows so that, we can start bringing, the younger generations up into the theater, because it won't last if the people behind us aren't going to keep coming. And so
Exactly.
we actually just bought tickets for our granddaughter. Hopefully she doesn't hear this before her birthday, but for Peppa Pig, that's going to be, it's called Peppa Pig's My First Concert.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
She will be 3 this year, my lucky number. And so she'll be 3. And those are tickets we're going to give her, and Grandma and Grandpa are going to go and bring her. And I think it's March of next year.
And this will be her first concert.
This will be her first concert.
What was your first concert?
Chicago at Pine Knob in Detroit.
Wow.
And my dad took me.
My first concert without an adult, without my parents, because when I grew up here and we used to go to the Jacksonville Fair concerts, I saw Crystal Gale,
Oh my gosh.
Ronnie Millsap. Do you remember Billy Crash Craddock?
No.
He was like an Elvis kind of style. Saw all those guys, but my first concert by myself was Joan Jett and the Blackhearts at Six Flags over Georgia.
Oh my gosh.
And you just never forget that first concert.
Yeah.
And for those of us who are passionate about concerts, I think that's the moment in our lives where something happens. A light goes off when you're like, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Listen, if I could just go to concert, and by the way, that is our favorite pastime.
Mine too.
If we're going to go do something, it's dinner and concert. We like all the theaters around town, right? But what's cool about the Florida Theater is it's a mid-sized theater. It's 1,800 seats. You've got a great view from wherever you're sitting.
Right.
And it's just personal, and the sound system is amazing. The people who come there, the entertainers, they're all personable.
And the ushers are the best.
And they're all volunteers.
Yeah, and they love it.
They love it.
Absolutely love it.
They love it, yes.
All right, Carolyn, one last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up is Blues, Brews, Bourbon and BBQ.
That's right.
That event is coming up. Is it August 21st?
It is August 21st. It's at Bowie Oaks.
Okay. Oh, so it's not at the Florida Theater.
It is not. It is an outdoor event, which, in my opinion, is super cool. They've had it both at the theater and they've had it at Bowie Oaks. The months change between August and September, and most people's feedback is that they prefer Bowie Oaks. We have beer vendors that come. We have the barbecue places that come. And, with the price of a ticket, you get to sample all of this. If you want to come as VIP, VIP is $100. And you get to sip bourbon. Mm-hmm. And the reason we added bourbon a couple years back is that, when there was this whole movement and the younger generation was all of a sudden taking a liking to bourbon, right? And so we said, well, it's no longer that they just want to drink beer.
Right.
So let's add bourbon to the mix. And, it keeps it fresh. It keeps it different. But the regular tickets are $50. You can also get those online, or you can call the box office, I believe. If not, go to floridatheater.com and you can get the tickets there.
When I first saw the name with bourbon added, I thought, who in the hell added bourbon? It's Blues, Brews, and BBQ. It's been that for like ever. And then you were like, oh, I added that. But you know what?
I like to take credit for it, yes.
I traveled to see Duran Duran, like I have been doing that since 1987. And 2 years ago now, I went to the Bourbon and Beyond Festival in Louisville because they were playing that festival. And I'm a bourbon drinker. I have been my whole life. I don't drink beer. I grew up on Jack Daniels, and I like different types of whiskey. So I'm actually very, very stoked that this is a thing now.
Well, quick little story to add to that. So at the last annual ball, we bid on a bourbon trail tour in Louisville.
You and your fiance?
Yes, yes. We don't drink bourbon at all.
Wow.
So we won it, and we took the trip just earlier this year. We went in March. It was amazing. And I will tell you, it is not like everyone expects. Everyone thinks you're going to get, wasted. Mm-hmm. You get little sips of all of these bourbons. So we went to 3 different, bourbon distilleries, all completely different. It was an amazing time, and I would totally recommend it again. But now, we drink bourbon.
It really is like a wine, too, when you start tasting different notes or a smoky, taste or whatever. It's amazing how different varieties of bourbon there are.
Absolutely. And people forget that you can mix it, right?
Yeah.
So we have a distillery here, Burlock and Barrel, down by Riverside, that we actually got to stop into when they first started, and they have like a tropical bourbon. They mixed it with a pineapple, Sprite, and it was this fruity summer cocktail. It was delicious.
To try that.
It's great.
That sounds amazing. Carolyn, I'm so glad we ran into each other at the Florida Theater. I feel like we're like old friends.
Absolutely.
Like as soon as we met, I'm like, I feel like I've known this girl my entire life. Because we are kindred spirits. That's how me and Kevin are. Like, we're just kindred. And Numa as well. Like, Numa feels like someone I've known my entire life because he has that same love of the music and the venue and everything.
And we do. And it's like, and when you have that in common, like, you can spark a conversation about anything. And the love of Jacksonville, to be able to keep all of this going and keep it alive and have the support.
You feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself.
Absolutely. And I'm grateful because you have podcasts like this that are encouraging, like the music scene. I've run into so many people who have either moved here or they even live here, but they don't live in the area, or they won't take the time to travel, right? And they say, what is the Florida Theater? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you are in for a night out. We tell them you just have to experience at least once.
Yeah.
And then you make it your go-to scene. I mean, Jacksonville is so large.
Yeah.
Right? Everywhere you go, you're going to travel.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Again, going back to why I started this podcast, from the Amphitheater in St. Augustine, Thrasher Horn in Middleburg, so many great venues downtown, including Daly's Place and the Arena. And at the heart of it all is the Florida Theater.
Absolutely.
I feel like everyone else is just trying to rise up to their amazingness.
And we want to stay at the top.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Carolyn, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, Amadeus. I appreciate it.
It was great to meet you.
Yes.
I'm sure we're going to see each other a ton now that I'm going to become a member after you kicked my ass about it. The Florida.
Well, at least I can say I sold a membership.
That's right. Your job is done for the year. FloridaTheater.com for everything we've talked about today. All right, that wraps up this episode of Live from Jacksonville. Thank you so much to Carolyn and everyone at the Florida Theater for all you guys do there. We love it so much. I mentioned that Lee Bryce, Ashley Cook, and Lewis Bryce are all coming to the AMP St. Augustine, and I'm working on getting an interview with all three of those artists. I've never had all three artists from one show on the same podcast, but hopefully that'll be coming soon. But another episode definitely on the way soon to let you know what's happening live from Jacksonville.